So you may remember we made this video right after the 2023 NHL Entry Draft. We used the same words and everything. We asked the question as to whether or not Philadelphia Flyers top prospect Matvei Michkov bamboozled the NHL. This video was like half joking, half serious, because what we were talking about were some of the reports that came out immediately after the 2023 NHL Draft that kind of indicated that Matvei Michkov wanted to come over to the USA quickly and that he wanted to win the Stanley Cup. Now, this was a really big deal, and a lot of people were like, okay, wait, what? Like, Matvei Michkov is coming? He wants to come to North America? I thought it was, like, up in the air whether or not there would be an opportunity to do that, or at least do so right away, right? There's no denying that Matvei Michkov was a really good talent at the draft. Many people would say he was the second best prospect behind Connor Bedard, maybe even in line with Bedard himself. But the reason Michkov went from second overall, like he was projected to go, all the way down to 7 was because A, his contract with the KHL's SKA St. Petersburg went on till 2026, and B, we didn't really know if there was super high commitment from him to be able to go to the NHL, leave the KHL, and abandon that contract. Would he be able to come over earlier? Would he have to finish off the deal until 2026 so he wouldn't actually be able to play NHL hockey till then? When it comes to best player available, sure, you can talk about evaluating the talent at hand and just going with the guy who is going to be the best, but at the same time, if you choose between the best player whom you might not actually see in your system till 2026 versus a guy who might be a little bit worse but who's going to be able to play for you in 2024, there's a reason to go with the guy who's a little worse but who will probably play for you earlier. That's kind of a philosophy that I don't think people had really talked about much heading into the 2023 NHL Draft, but it was there. And also when it comes to Matvei Michkov, based off of the interviews we had right after the draft, seems like he really wanted to be a Philadelphia Flyer, which is why we made the video a year ago. Hey, did he just bamboozle the entire NHL? He's got all these interviews saying that he wants to be a Flyer, he wants to come to the NHL, he wants to do this, he wants to do that. Where was this like 2 weeks ago? Where was this heading into the draft? If all this was public knowledge right before the actual selection of the guys, maybe Michkov would not have dropped to 7th overall to get taken by Philadelphia. Maybe he would have been taken a lot higher than that. Just to refresh your memory here, the 2023 NHL Entry Draft went as follows. You had yourselves the first overall, of course, it was Connor Bedard. Not surprising there. But then, you had yourselves Leo Carlsson, Adam Fantilli, Will Smith, David Reinbacher, Simashev, and then Matvei Michkov. There was an idea floating around here saying that Michkov may not have wanted to go to some of these other teams drafting in the top 6 of the NHL Draft. Based off of what he said, it seems like he really wanted to go to the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know what Danny Bear's cooking over there and what he said to Michkov during the draft interviews, but hey, he got him to bite, eh? So with that in mind, it brings us to our news from today. Take a look at sportexpress.ru, this article published by Arthur Kyrulin from earlier today at 17:01 military time. So I guess 5 p.m. in Russia, so I guess this was from like, what is it now? 9 p.m. in Russia? So this is from about 4 hours ago. Matvei Michkov will continue his career in Philadelphia. This article is Russian, of course. I translated it to English. According to SE, sportexpress.ru, SKA St. Petersburg forward Matvei Michkov will continue his career in Philadelphia. The contract with SKA St. Petersburg will be terminated until 2026. The rights to the hockey player in the KHL will remain with SKA. Michkov spent last season on loan at Sochi. The hockey player played 49 games, scored 19 goals, and scored 22 assists. So, not only were the reports from Danny Briere from a few days ago kind of on the right track here. I mean, if you remember from 2 weeks ago, Briere said pretty much that Philadelphia and SKA, they're in cahoots, they're talking, they're making progress, they're progressing to a place where Michkov would be allowed to join the Flyers a little bit earlier than 2026. And now 2 weeks later, it's reported here by Russian media that SKA is indeed letting Michkov go. They're terminating the contract. And that, to me, is so incredibly weird. We didn't know that this was going to be a possibility. The way that we perceive KHL Russian hockey, especially as North American hockey fans, was that the KHL still kind of has a bit of that 90s thing going on. They want their talents to stay in Russia. So when top-tier guys like Matvei Michkov, who have the potential to be the next GOATs of Russian hockey, come around, they want to do everything in their power to keep these guys in Russia. Not saying that there's any conspiracy here, but you gotta remember the tragic news that happened with Matvei Michkov's father. The guy's dad went missing for a few days, and then he was found dead, literally dead, near a pond. Not saying that anything is confirmed, of course, but there were some people going out there and saying, okay, wait a minute, this is, that's pretty bizarre. Top prospect, some of the best talent Russia has ever produced. There's a threat of him leaving to go to the NHL. Obviously, that's something Russia would not want, and then his dad dies and is found near a pond? Like, of course, I'm not saying anything, per se, but you can put these puzzle pieces in your brain in a particular way, and it would make sense. That's what I'm saying. And so, because that happened last year, a lot of people were saying, okay, well, this is going to be crazy. Like, we don't know where Matvei Michkov is going to get drafted. We know that he's as good to get drafted number 2 if you really wanted to do it, but he's got a contract in the KHL for ages, and he's not going to be able to play in the NHL right away. Now it's a year later. Oh yeah, he's going over to Philadelphia. Okay. Did Matvei Michkov himself know that there was some sort of an opportunity for him to depart the KHL early? Was there some sort of a tactic here used to not get drafted by some of the other teams in the top 6? There were reports saying that Michkov in particular did not want to go to Arizona, for example. They drafted 1 pick right before him, and they took another Russian guy, Dmitri Simashev. So, for Michkov, with his very expressed interest in wanting to go to Philadelphia, the uncertainty as to whether or not he would be able to leave Russia, and just 1 year later, being able to clear all that up and be like, yeah, no, we're going to terminate the contract, I'm coming over to the NHL, 2024, baby. Was there some sort of a bamboozling here going on? And my question to fans of the Anaheim Ducks, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Sharks, the Canadiens, and the Coyotes is, was there really a bamboozle here? Knowing what you know now, that Michkov is gonna come over to North America in 2024, that he was able to terminate that contract, something that I don't think I would ever envision myself saying, but hey, we are saying it. Seems like Michkov's gonna be able to get himself out of the KHL. With all this in mind, do you feel kinda bamboozled here? Not betrayed, that's too powerful of a word, and I don't think there's any betrayal here because it's not like Michkov was committed to any of these other top 6 teams, but there was some sort of a thing going around. We don't know if he's going to come over. We don't know if that's possible. He's going to stay in the KHL. But then, boom, right after the draft, he's like, yeah, I want to be a Flyer. We'll try to get things going. We'll get it done as soon as we can. And now, a year later, seems like he's coming over. So, big thoughts here coming out of Matvei Michkov. To end off this video, I wanted to read one Reddit comment from Dote that might summarize everything that we need to know here. Take a look at this. This was posted on Our Hockey under the same post of the Russian sportexpress.ru article. I really believe now that the we don't know when or if Michkov will come to North America narrative leading up to the draft was purposefully played up by him and his team to scare off teams that he did not want to be drafted by. It sounds like he gave different answers to different teams when he interviewed with them, and he even said after the draft last year that he was planning to go to Philadelphia as soon as he could. I think he used the Russian aspect to his advantage to get one of the teams he wanted to play for. And he did straight up tell teams like San Jose, Arizona, and at least one of Columbus and Anaheim that he didn't want to play for them. He wanted a bigger market with team history, apparently, specifically the Flyers, which would make sense that he pushed that narrative. Even with the Russian factor, there's no way a prospect like him would fall to 7 from just that. There was a lot going on, and for once, the Flyers benefited. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this entire bamboozle situation. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.